Hi, it's me, Vicky Marie. And the first thing I'd like to say is thank you so much to everyone who watched my previous video and gave so many nice comments when I was poorly sick. I'm so glad that I did do that video because I really didn't feel like doing it that day. I was poorly, but I can see that it really struck a chord with people, and I hope it's helped give you some focus. I think what people don't understand, people say, oh, why, still talk about Nicola Bulley. We do all care about Nicola. We want this mystery to be solved. I think we feel an empathetic feeling towards her, and we I don't know, we just are interested in it, and I don't think it's a ghoulish interest. I think it's a genuine concern from the comments. I mean, the lovely comments. They had no negative comments about Nicola. Everybody just wants sort of to know what happened to her, and wants to talk about it. It's like people want an outlet because, as I said in that video, we were invested in this story for 3 weeks, blasted on the media with the story of Nicola, and we all got involved in it and we all started caring, and then suddenly it just disappeared and you're not supposed to talk about it. And I think people found it a relief to talk about it between themselves in chat, leaving messages for me, and I've tried to answer or respond to it as many as I can, but it did get like so many that I probably have missed some, and I'm so sorry if I have missed and not reacted to any comments. I do try to take notice of all of them, but it sort of snowballed out of control in a way, but in a good way. I'm not complaining, don't get me wrong, I am not complaining. I'm glad that you feel engaged in it. I'm glad that what I had to say touched you in some way, because it makes me feel better knowing that I've connected with people on a certain level. So what I'm going to do today, anyway, as you can see, I'm feeling much better. I've actually done my hair and things like that. I'm going to talk about Paul today. So, Paul, Puzzling Paul Ansell. I mean, he may be watching this video, and Paul, if you are watching this video and, you feel completely wronged by what a lot of people are saying, that you must have had some involvement, or and I am, be honest right here and now, through this video, I'm going to give my honest opinion of what I think as we go through your interviews, etc. Somebody made a comment on the previous video that, should leave them alone. That was the only comment, I must admit, that did say that one comment. And the thing is, Paul, as you know, or Paul, if he's watching, if he's not watching, I'm talking to the rest of you, he went on and voluntarily and did these interviews. I didn't make him do it. I didn't tell him to go and talk to Sky News. I didn't tell him to give his phone number to Sky News or to have an interview with Dan Walker. Paul decided to do that himself. He takes responsibility for his own actions, just as I have to take responsibility for my actions. If I decide to do something and I get criticism for it, I'm not going to turn around and blame Paul, or anybody else. I'll just say, look, this is the situation and this is what I've done, and I'll be honest. Honesty, I don't think you can go wrong with honesty, or if you can, it's not right, is it? Because you just got to be honest about the way you feel, etc. Anyway, I don't want to start waffling on because I can get into waffles. So I was thinking how to do this interview, because there are 4 components, if you like, that I want to look at. First of all is the first interview that Paul did with Sky News, which was on the 3rd of February, which was quite a long time after Nicola had gone missing, I thought. When he had his big woolly hat on and smiled, made the mistake of smiling during the interview. And I'm going to talk about that. It may not be because you know, he's got something to hide, or he's thrilled. It may have been nerves. Same with Emma smoking. You know, some people just have I call it low self-monitoring. They don't realise, you know, the sort of the emotions they're giving off, or the body language they're giving off. So, but I will be looking at it. So this is the first thing I'm going to look at, the actual first interview with Sky News. Now, then I will be looking at the voice note that he sent to Sky News one evening. You know, and bear in mind, later on, Paul went on to criticise quite heavily Sky News, in particular single them out. But this particular time he was sending them voice notes on WhatsApp. So, you know, Sky News didn't make him do that, he did that. This is what I'm saying. We're not talking about things that the media or the TikTokers or the YouTubers are making Paul and Emma do, or anybody who's done any interviews concerned with this case. They voluntarily did it. They did it themselves. Nobody made them do it. You know, they did it themselves. The other thing I want to say is I noticed that there are so many people feeling the same way. That makes me even more certain that there is something, because, you know, can't all be wrong, can we? But anyway, we'll see. So, first of all, I'm going to do his first interview on Sky News, look at the things he said and how we could perhaps interpret them, and not only in a negative way. I won't be doing that. I'll be looking at all the different ways. Then the voice note to Sky News we'll be looking at, and looking at the information on that. Then, of course, that long interview that you did with Dan Walker on Channel 5. Very, you know, apparently even Dan Walker commented on at the beginning of the programme he wasn't expecting him to sit down with him for quite so long as he did. Again, Paul volunteered that. He wasn't dragged there screaming. He wanted to do that interview. And the last thing we're going to look at, which to me I think is almost the most telling, is the police statement. Well, say the police statement, the family statement that he had the police read out when Nicola's body was finally found, unfortunately, and identified. The family, which for me is Paul, released a statement through the police, had the police read out the statement. He didn't read it out himself, probably scared to death that it might get dissected, which is fair enough. But it'll still get dissected, but in a different way. And I'm going to be looking at that and that's only words. I don't have his actual, you know, we don't have his actual body language saying that. We just have his words that he said. So we're going to start off. I'm going to put them all together, but I'm going to do them separately. So you may see me in different clothes later on, because I may do some of it today, some of it tomorrow, and just see how it goes. I probably won't have time to do it all today, so I'll do it bit by bit. Before I start, there's a little bit of housekeeping, if you like, that I just want to do. If you are enjoying my channel, thank you so much for all the subscribers and all the views that I've had. I am completely overwhelmed, but in a good way. You can support my channel by buying me a coffee on Ko-fi. I think it's there somewhere. You know, I want to do more of this sort of content. Obviously I have a day job as well, so and I haven't hit a monetization threshold yet, so if you want to support my channel, I'm not begging for money or anything. I'm just saying, if you would like to support my channel, you can do it by buying me a coffee. Another way you could do it, and you may enjoy it, may find it interesting, maybe not, but this is my book, Confessions of a Spanish Teacher by Vicky Riley, which is available on all Amazon sites. And in this book, it tells the story of how I actually came to live in, because I live in Spain. I'm a Spanish teacher in Spain, that's my day job. And it tells the story of how I ended up coming to live in Spain. And also it tells the story of my own, you know, I like to, it basically was a near-death experience by a stalker, by a partner, which is why I think that this is what started me with my interest in true crime and everything, because I felt like after this nearly happened to me, it felt like every day you know what it's like, things you don't notice on the news. Maybe you don't notice things about babies, and then suddenly you're pregnant, so you start noticing all the adverts about babies, or you don't sort of have a dog, and then you get a dog, and then you start noticing all the adverts about dog food and things. What I found after the experience I had, which was part of the reason why I ended up coming to Spain, is then I started noticing that all the times that these stalking incidents led to, well, basically women being murdered. So, and men, I mean, it's not only women. So I started to notice it, and that's where my interest in true crime, and if you like, the psychology of it, why do people do it, arose. So you might be interested in reading about that. I will be doing a video on it one day on my actual experience, but if you want to read about it and other things about my life, people tell me it's interesting. To me, it's interesting because it's my life. You know, it was Oscar Wilde who said you should always write a diary so you have something interesting to read on the train. Truth is always stranger than fiction. So if you're interested in reading about me, you can get this on any Amazon site. Confessions of a Spanish Teacher by Vicky, with an I, writing. Okay, got that out of the way. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty, and we need to listen to Paul's very first interview, which, funnily enough, was on the 3rd of February, so it was quite a little while after Nicola had actually gone missing before he actually came out with any kind of appeal, if you can call this an appeal, and he was interviewed by Sky News, and I think this is when the doubts about Paul started. Which we'll listen to it. I don't know how to put the actual video on, and I can't because it'd be copyrighted anyway, but hopefully you can hear it, and then after that we will look at analysing the things he said. Okay, let's have a listen.
I don't really have anything to say other than what the family said yesterday. My whole focus is on 2 girls, just staying as strong as I can for them. I'm scared that if I put any focus into anything else, it's going to take my, focus off that. So I've got to be very careful. Just hoping to goodness that anything comes out from the interview yesterday, no matter how tiny. Just say a massive thank you to the community, friends, for everything that they're doing. It's absolutely incredible. I just can't believe that we're a week on, and as yet it seems like we're no further on. It just seems absolutely impossible. Just like a dream. Just cannot get my head around any of it.
I mean, you're left sort of trying to make sense of the census, aren't you? It's just such a mystery.
Yeah, it is. There's just every single scenario comes to a brick wall, every single one of them, and then all we're doing is sitting there going round and round and round, going through every scenario, and then go back to the first scenario again and do the whole thing again, and then I think it's just all day long. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing.
How are you coping? It must be so difficult. Like you say, your focus is on the girls, and it has to be. But yeah, it must be so difficult.
I don't know how I'm coping. I don't even want to actually think about that. Just focus. Just like I say, it's just about the girls. That's it. I'm there for them. I don't want to really elaborate on that. I don't want to take my eye off that.
It must be heartwarming to see the public response. I mean, hundreds of people trying to help.
It's amazing. It is. Right now, it's the only thing that we can take is, that level of support is out of this world. It gives us a great amount of comfort knowing that that's going on. They don't have anything else, do we?
Well, there's hope.
We're never ever going to lose the hope. Of course we're not. But right now, it is as though she had vanished into thin air. Like, yeah, just insane.
So, what do we think of that then? What do we think? Let me know what you think in comments. I'm really, maybe you think he comes over as perfectly natural and, you know, you can't see any reason to think anything bad, you know, on that particular video. Let me know. I'd be interested to know. I'm going to give you my thoughts. First thought is, it does seem to have been a long time after she went missing before he actually gave an interview on camera. That's what. Then he's got this great big woolly hat on, which I know it was cold, but it was cold on future occasions as well when he didn't wear the woolly hat. Was he hiding? Because you'll see in the interview with Dan Walker, he does seem to have something on his face, as if maybe he always has that on his face, so maybe it isn't a result of a scratch or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know, the big woolly hat, a little bit, no, I shouldn't say that. He may have always worn a big woolly hat, so no, I shouldn't say that. For me, this constantly talked about, his whole focus is on the two girls. Well, you know, obviously, you know, your focus would be on the children, but not while your partner was missing maybe so much. I mean, to me, my whole focus would be, what the hell has happened to my partner? Where is she? Or he, you know, what has happened? You know, that would be your focus. Your absolute focus would be finding out what has happened to your partner, even more than the children at that point. I mean, all right, you're trying to comfort the children, I know that, but really the only way you can make the children feel any better is by finding out what's happened to your partner. And at that stage, you didn't know, you know, that anything bad had happened to her. You know, she could have run away. You know, she could have fallen into the river, she could have run off with another man. We didn't know, but so that would be my whole focus, finding out what has happened. What the hell has happened? You know, I've woke up this morning, everything's normal in my life, and now suddenly my life's turned upside down. Sorry, I think I'm going to have to break off a minute because somebody's in trouble.
I don't have anything to say other than what the family said yesterday. My whole focus is my two girls, just staying as strong as I can for them. I'm scared that if I...
Okay, sorry, I'm trying to work. You know, these things that are easy for other people, they're difficult for me. So yeah, he doesn't know how he's coping. He's wearing this big woolly hat. His whole focus is on the two girls. No, he doesn't. Again, doesn't say, please Nikki, please come home, where are you, what, you know, we can sort anything out, you know, that any problem you might have, we can sort it out. These are the things that, to me, he should be saying. And bearing in mind that we find out later, now we didn't know at the time, but he knew that supposedly Nicola's got mental health issues and is menopausal and has got drink problems and all that. So he should have been really concerned, no? Sure, you know, and I know from mental health issues in my family that I would be absolutely desperate if that person that was suffering from that had disappeared and I didn't know where they were. You know, because he goes on to say, oh, he mentions dreams a lot. It's like a dream. It's like a dream. There's no evidence. What a strange thing to say. There's no evidence. Would you say that? There's no evidence, just so there's no signs of what might have happened to her, or there's no clues, or no evidence. Straight away he's putting it in a police context, if you like. Evidence, you connect with a crime, don't you? Evidence, no clues, no... I don't know, the language to me is strange. And yeah, all we're doing is focusing on the girls and going round the same scenario, going round in circles and coming back. That's all we're doing. Aren't you searching? Is that all you're doing? Sat and talking about it and going around the scenarios? Why aren't you, I don't know, like walking up and down with taking the dog every day, day in, day out? I would not rest. I think I said in the last video, even if it was my dog that had gone missing, never mind my partner, I would not rest. I would not be sitting talking about it. I would be out all the time as much as I could. Yeah, and then he says, oh, I don't want to elaborate. Let's just have a...
If I put any focus into anything else, it's going to take my, focus off that. So I've got to be very careful. Just hoping to goodness that anything comes out.
He says, I've got to be very careful because if I put my focus on anything else, if he puts his focus on anything else, if he has done something, now again, I'm not saying he has done something, please, I'm just saying if he had done something, he would have to keep his focus. He's got to be aware all the time. And it suddenly came to me later in the Dan Walker interview, how he creates this analogy of it's like being in the Truman Show. He is in the Truman Show because he's being watched by the whole world. The only difference is he knows he is, so he can watch what he's saying. In the Truman Show, the main character, Jim Carrey, he didn't know he was being watched by the whole world, so he was just being himself, not realising everybody was tuning into him like he was a TV soap opera. Paul knows that people are watching his every word and tuning into him. Now, it's not stopping him going out and doing interviews, and this is only the first one. It doesn't stop him going out and making statements, etc. But he's got to be very careful. Anyway, so he says, I don't know, I'm coping. I'm sure it's terrible. I mean, if he genuinely is innocent, it must be awful. I mean, I do feel for him. There was one time when he did say, when he talked about we get a great amount of comfort, his voice did seem to break a little.
The interview yesterday, no matter how tiny, to the first scenario again and do the whole thing again.
Yeah, it'd take me ages to get back to it and that. But yeah, there's a lot of, as well, when he's saying affirmative things, he's shaking his head. This goes throughout his and Emma's interviews. There's a lot of saying something that you should really, like as I'm saying it, I'm nodding, because I'm going along with what I'm saying. I was saying, let me think how I could put it. Yes, I don't know, I love chocolate, but I was going, I love chocolate. Like, that's where it is. You're saying an affirmative thing, a positive thing, but you're shaking your head and saying no. He does a lot of that. Anyway, he doesn't want to elaborate. Of course he doesn't want to elaborate, because the more he elaborates, the more he might get into trouble with what he's saying. And then he says that laugh.
And then it's just all day long, that's all we're doing.
It's all we're doing. It's all we're doing. Shaking his head.
It's so difficult, like you say, your focus is on the girls, and it has to be, but it must be so difficult.
I don't know how I'm coping. I don't even want to actually think about that.
I don't know how I'm coping.
Just like I say, it's just about the girls.
Mind you, that is a negative thing.
I don't want to really elaborate on that.
I don't want to really elaborate on that.
Off that.
It must be heartwarming to see the public response, hundreds of people trying to help.
It's amazing. It is.
Public response is amazing.
We can take is, that level of support is out of this world. It gives us a great amount of comfort.
It gives us a great amount of comfort. His voice does break a little bit there.
We don't have anything else, do we?
We don't have anything else, do we?
We're never ever going to lose the hope. Of course we're not.
Then it's the actual interview that pulls him up on that. I wonder if this is why later he doesn't like Sky News, but the interview pulls him up and says, well, you have got hope. And he goes, oh, yes, we've got hope. Yeah, I mean, I I don't know, wouldn't you be saying right from the outset, please Nicola, wherever you are, you know, please come back, we need you, we miss you, you've not done anything wrong, nothing, you know, nobody's angry with you, no, I don't know, lots of different things he might be saying. Having said that, people who have done away with their spouses, etc., do sometimes make appeals like that, and knowing full well that they're not coming back. So, you know, this is all just conjecture, I know that, it's just conjecture. If anybody's got anything they want to say to me, like maybe, are there things that I'm missing that in that particular interview, you think, no, that sounds genuine, or that, you know, that maybe I'm missing it. I mean, I've watched that interview over and over again, and believe me, I am looking for positive things. I said, I did feel that his voice did break a little bit when he said, yeah, we're getting a great amount of comfort from the public, or whatever, but then he went on to this, oh, well, that's all we've got, isn't it, you know, and he might just have an unfortunate manner in that sense. Not everybody acts appropriately. I have seen videos of people who the police, because you know the thing is, what the police will do when they suspect somebody is they will set them up for an interview, let them run, let them go ahead, be interviewed, speak, and hope that they trip up. If they've got no evidence, they hope that they trip up, and maybe that's what they've been doing with Paul. I'm going to do a video about the police, because I think there's two lines of thoughts about the police. Either they're the worst police force ever, or they're actually being really clever in what they're doing. I haven't quite made my mind up yet. But yeah, so what do we think of that very first interview? Let me know in comments, because the next interview, well, it's not an interview, the next thing I'll be looking at is the voice note that he sent to Sky News. You know, Sky News, who he said were being intrusive later on and wouldn't leave him alone. In the night time, he's sending them a voice note. Why? Okay, let's have a listen to the voice note.
It's been 10 days now since Nicola went missing. I have two little girls who miss their mummy desperately. We need her back. It's been such a tough time for the girls especially, but also for me, all of Nikki's family and friends, as well as the wider community. I want to thank them for their love and support. We're also really grateful to Peter and his team from SGI for coming up and helping support the work of Lancashire Police as they continue their investigation. Their support is amazing. If anyone has any information which could help find Nikki, I urge them please to get in touch with the police, help us provide the answers that we all so badly need. We have to find her safe and well. I can't put those girls to bed again tonight with no answers. It's, yeah, thank you.
Okay, let's carry on. I've had a lot of problems with my camera today. First thing I'm going to do when I get monetised, etc., is get some proper recording equipment. Anyway, so where was I? So yeah, it's been a difficult time. It's been such a tough time for the girls especially, but also for me, all of Nikki's family and friends, as well as the wider community. I want to thank them for their love and support. We're also really grateful to Peter and his team from SGI for coming up and helping support the work of Lancashire Police as they continue their investigation. He's reading off a script. As he's got the words in front of him, probably Emma sat next to him, and I don't mean it just because if there's anything going on between him and Emma. Emma is that kind of person. She'll have a script prepared for him. He's reading it out, very robotic tone. That support is amazing. If anyone has any information which could help find Nikki, I urge them please to get in touch with the police, help us to provide the answers that we all so badly need. We have to find her safe and well. And this very strange thing that it says at the end, I can't put those girls to bed again tonight with no answers. Well, you'll have to, because you're probably not going to get answers within the next 5 minutes that you've sent this voice note. So it's quite an odd thing to say that, but anyway, then he just says, yeah, thank you. I don't see any emotion. If you listen to it and obviously hear the version I played, you can get the original version on YouTube. I will put a link, so you will be able to get a better copy, if you like, or a better resonance, to give you an idea that really it is quite robotic. Gosh. So sorry. Yes, it's really quite a robotic performance. I don't know. And also, what was behind that voice note to Sky News that he sent? I feel that he realised he'd come over badly in the initial interview with Sky News, and then he sat down, probably with Emma. I'll say it doesn't matter if anything's going on between them or not. She's his friend, so he probably sat down and said, look, this isn't coming over very well. Might be for the most innocent of reasons. You know, it might be her saying to him, look, you know, you didn't come over very well. People aren't going to... I expect there was quite a backlash over the smiling in that first interview. So he's, you know, phoned Sky News, left this message, this voice message. So obviously Sky News have his phone number. Well, there's only him will have given Sky News his phone number. So what he says later about complaining about Sky News, if you don't want a journalist contacting you, don't give him your phone number. But anyway, so let's take it on the best case scenario, if you like, or the most innocent scenario, that he's realised, you know, he's made a total, you know, he's not, people aren't looking sympathetically towards him because he laughed in that first interview, be it through embarrassment, be it through anxiety, be it through, you know, lots of things that people do laugh in inappropriate times. You know, it's sort of almost human nature. It's just like a defense mechanism, isn't it? So let's take it at the best case scenario. That's what's happened. He sat down with Emma or somebody else. I do feel like somebody else is directing Paul. He's like, to me, he's like one of these man babies, you know. It's like he's a man, and you know, but he needs sort of looking after, and a bit like Boris Johnson, that sort of type. It's just like if he's left to his own devices, he'll just do everything wrong. You know, he's never grown up. That you know, I know, gosh, I'm sort of saying that, probably shouldn't say it, but that's how I feel. You know, we all know that Boris Johnson couldn't probably brush his teeth in the morning unless somebody helped him do it. You know, it's some people are just like that. They have to be looked after, and a lot of women like to look after men. So, you know, and it's fine, it can work fine. And that's how I feel about Paul. I don't think Paul will have done that himself, decided himself. I think he will have talked to Emma or somebody because I think Emma is a very organised person. That might just be, you know, the only reason why we look on her and think maybe she just is a bit of a dynamo, you know, and sometimes people are very strong and don't act the way that we think they should because we might be on the floor, but they're so strong and coping. And I do think Emma is like that. So she's sat behind him and said, look, you know, this is what you need to say. You need to show a bit of compassion. But for me, there was no compassion in that, the way he read out that voice note. It's like saying all the right things, but there's nothing behind it. And this sort of, you know, it's been difficult for the girls, but also for me. I mean, it was just so unnecessary to say that unless you're just asking for sympathy. And why would you? The thing is, if you genuinely, you know, people, not only the British people, but people all over the world, we're not uncaring. I mean, we do care. We don't sort of react in this way for nothing because we don't, you know, it's because our intuition is telling us there's something not right. You know, a lot of people sort of have compared him to Chris Watts, and I can see from the someone did a very good YouTube video showing some similarities in the way he spoke and the way Chris Watts spoke. I personally don't. The similarities I find with Paul is with another guy called Mitchell Quay, who I don't know if you even know about because it was quite a while ago now, but basically his wife disappeared and he was left with the children, and he said she'd run off with another man, and it went on for a long time, but they never found a body, you see, until right at the end. So you know, it's different. They've got Nicola's body, so you know the autopsy, etc. Hopefully may show that she did take her own life, and we'd have to just accept that. But with Mitchell Quay, he was on the TV, did an interview with with Richard and Judy, which was like the equivalent of This Morning, you know. Now Richard Madley, is it Richard Madley, who's still currently on Good Morning Britain, and his wife Judy, they were like the sort of Holly Willoughby and Philip Schofield of their day. He appeared on there, he had TV crews around his house, he was talking, he was saying, you know, the truth will come out in the end, people will realise I didn't do it in the end, and of course that isn't the way it happened. He did do it, and quite brutally actually. But yes, I will be doing a video on Mitchell Quay. I think although it's an old case, and I think that again it was a case that resonated with me because of, you know, my own situation years ago, and also because I think it's from my part of the world, if you like, it's from the north of the UK, that, you know, I could Lindsay, his wife, she was so young and so beautiful, and it was such a sad story, really. It was a very, very sad story. Again, children that have had their mother taken away. And I think especially, well, it's important to keep it in the public eye. So I know, sorry, I'm diverting from Paul now. And you might think, oh, why are you talking about a case from all that time ago, you know. But it is important because this guy, every couple of years now he's coming up for probation because he's served that minimum sentence where he could receive probation and be released. So these poor parents, and believe me, Lindsay's parents have been through enough, because not only they lost their daughter in a very brutal way, and also had to sit for a year knowing that he had done something to their daughter and not be able to prove it before it finally came out. Also, her brother, their son, couldn't, when he did find the truth out of what had happened to Lindsay. Now, I might start crying now, so you may see what the reason why Emma shouldn't be wearing makeup is, you know, I may end up with mascara down my eyes. And this is someone I don't even know, but it just resonated so much because her brother, he just couldn't cope with what had happened to her, and he committed suicide. And he had a girlfriend who was either pregnant or had just had a baby. It's another tragedy, you know, tragedy after tragedy caused by the horrible thing that Mitchell Quay did. And not only did it, but he disrespected her too. The things he said about her during that time when he said she'd run off with another man. He said he'd seen her with another man, you know, virtually making out she was like, didn't care about her children. You know, just run off and left them, and, you know, and what a hero he was looking after the children. Various things, but when I do the full case you'll see. So this is, if Paul is guilty of any wrongdoing, which I don't know that he is, and I'm still not 100% certain, although sometimes I feel like more and more I'm leaning that way. It's Mitchell Quay that it reminds me of, and I hope if he is, I hope he gets the same comeuppance that Mitchell Quay got. And I think it's important that the Mitchell Quay or Lindsay Quay case is never forgotten, because he should never come out of prison. When you know what happened, you will agree with me, I'm sure. And so it's important, even though it's an old case, it's important because these are people's lives. As Paul and everyone keeps reminding us, and some trolls, that yes, I know these are people's lives. They're people's lives that are being dealt with, but it was also Nicola's life. And so Nicola's life deserves the mystery being solved one way or the other. And it wasn't me who disrespected Nicola by calling her a menopausal alcoholic. That would have been Paul. So, okay. So, I ended up in a rant there, didn't I? Never mind. I can do that sometimes. So, what do you think? Let me know what you think about those two things we've looked at so far. This video's already getting really long, so I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this particular video here. And I'm going to do, because the interview with Dan Walker will go on for a long time, so that was a long interview. I will do that next, and then I'll do another video about the police statement that he issued after poor Nicola's body was found. So, okay, I will see you very soon in the next video. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I love to hear your views, whether I agree with them or not. Even you trolls, I quite like them. One of you said my curtains were cheap. Actually, these were really expensive curtains. So there you go. So you were wrong in that as well. You're probably wrong in quite a lot of things that you say. Yeah. So remember to always live and love very wisely. And until I see you again, may your God go with you. Thank you.